Hi everybody. So I was just listening to Carolyn Reese, Anatomy of the Spirit. This is wrinkled. Oh well. And that her books, she has a book called Anatomy of the Spirit, and then on Audible she's got like a lecture series, I guess. And I was listening to it, and the premise of it is like most cultures in the world have some sort of number 7 in them. And she was looking at the Eastern traditions and something like chakras, which, as we all know, I'm all about these days. She was wondering why there wasn't an equivalent in the Western world. And then she realized there was. And that was the, these are plastic. It's completely shiny. Her realization was that in the West, they're sacraments. They're called sacraments. Now, I'm familiar with the sacraments from a Catholic point of view. I know that other denominations of Christianity have, have the host, they eat the bread. I don't really know how it goes. Anyway, it seems to me that she was pretty much, those are underwear that I don't want you to see. And so sad. Okay. And she was saying, pretty much, it seemed like she was going with the Catholic one, so we'll just discuss those. And she was kind of saying there are 7 sacraments, 7 chakras. And she was saying that each, they line up. She kind of juxtaposed marriage and confession, but we'll let it slide. I gotta find out more about it. Maybe originally it was that way. I don't know. Juxtaposed? Not really. Just switched. So, what I was just listening to two things. She was talking about the sacrament of marriage and associating that with the 4th chakra, which is the heart, right? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. And then she was talking about confession, which she associated with the 5th chakra, which is the throat chakra. And she's just bringing up some really interesting ideas that I think are really good, and I want to put into practice. For instance, I've been thinking about, I mentioned to you several times that, my desire is not to get into a relationship until I am in a place where I don't have to have one to fill some gaping need, so that I'm basically, I want to be fine with myself. This is the way I say it generally. I want to be okay with myself, because if you're not okay without, you're never going to be okay with, right? And kind of realized when she started talking about this that no, I didn't quite know what that meant. Sort of. Like I know, okay, I want to be good without, so that because you never can be good with if you're not good without. But good was left kind of nebulous. And in my mind, it was like, I'm at a point where, granted, my next relationship, whenever it is, there's going to be challenges for me, because it'll be the first relationship after I decided not to be codependent. Yeah, that's a different story, right? Well, the last relationship I wasn't really codependent, but I didn't have to face any of the things that I had to face before. in relationships that got me into trouble. And I'm sure that I will face some of those. And I am sure that I will have the reactions that that are my pattern. And I will have to work through those. And I want to be at a place where that's easier. You know what I mean? Like where I truly do love myself so that I can do that. And she was talking about the heart chakra as the chakra of marriage and or the sacrament of marriage. And she was saying, like, basically you should marry yourself, which, yeah, you know, you hear like, oh, I'll marry myself, but you know, the way she was describing it makes a lot of sense. And I think that that's what, you know, you hear this all the time, but I don't know, for some reason it just struck. You should be as good to yourself as you would be to someone else, right? You should be as, can you see the mess on my desk? You can, can't you? Nice. You've got to be like as nurturing, as kind, as good to yourself as you are to other people. And I was thinking, this is, I might like make up a marriage contract for myself, because like with the marriage, right? The idea is commitment, it's support, encouragement, it's being there for yourself, and adoration, like love yourself, right? You it keeps going off. I don't really know why. So, you know, marriage commitment. It'd be good to know that I've committed to myself. And that I will do what needs to be done for my good. And thinking about it in terms of a marriage, like I said, commitment, faithfulness, yeah, like love, duty. I said duty, but you know, for some reason it always has to happen anytime I hear that word now, except for jury, when I say jury duty, but now that probably will happen too. So yeah, I need to finish writing this up. So yeah, so I'm thinking I'm gonna make up a marriage contract for myself, and then maybe even like, I don't know about getting a wedding ring, but start wearing one of my rings on my left finger to remind myself. Maybe get something new, so that, you know, rather than just looking down and being like, oh yeah, that's just one of my rings. Something new to put on it. And so that's what I'm thinking about. I'll like make an actual contract. Actually, like maybe I should even have a ceremony. But like seriously, I know that sounds a little ridiculous, like a marriage to myself ceremony. Maybe I'll even do it in front of my housemates. We don't know. I gotta think about it. This is just occurring to me now. But I think, you know, when you take the vow in front of somebody, it's more, like if you're a person of integrity and honor, you're going to take it seriously no matter what. But when you say, like marriage ceremonies, ceremonies are important in human existence. We are a creature of symbol and meaningfulness, and ceremonies tell a story, you know, and they mark huge milestones in life, right? So that's what I can do. This can be a huge milestone in my life. I decided to marry myself, and then I will get myself a ring and I will have a little marriage ceremony in front of my housemates who so great in the sense that, I mean, they're great, but they're in the sense that, like, we all have issues. Like, we all have issues. If I had gone through my breakthrough in any other house when I had other people here, it would have been bad. Like, I wouldn't have been good. I would have ended up in the hospital. Which, you know, whatever. But I don't want to be in the hospital. I want to be functioning in the world. So it's a good thing I didn't land in the hospital. But yeah, I mean, they get it. They're like, okay, that's your thing now. You know, and they're very caring about it. So that's really nice. This is not as nice as I would like to fold it, but, you know, gotta move on. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'll have like a little, no, I'm not gonna do it in front of you guys. That's just silly. That would just be embarrassing. I have limits. I do, guys. I do have limits. They're out there, but yeah, there are limits. So I'm gonna plan a little ceremony for myself. I'll get myself a ring when I get my next client, which is hopefully soon, and I can substitute a different ring until then, because I want to do it tonight. Well, no, I think I will plan it. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be a whole thing. I'm going to have a ceremony and a reception after. Maybe I will get some Indian food. It'll be catered. And my housemate and I can I don't know if I'm going to toast. Well, I got some wine that I don't mind. I don't really like wine, but where does this go? Which pile? I don't really like wine, but there is one that's I've discovered. That's a long story, but so we're not going to go off there, Jennifer. That is a long story. You're not going to go that way. So there's a Sauvignon Blanc I like, and the reason I like it is I didn't realize this when I first started liking it, but the reason I like it is because it is like watered down. Oh, guys, my head. Oh, it's my third eye that's really giving me the problem, not problems, but really causing the issue, right? That was my pillow. Not me farting. So yeah, I'm gonna have I'm gonna plan it. I'm gonna make up wedding invitations. Oh my god, it's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be so much fun. So much fun. I'm gonna make wedding invitations and I'll send them to my housemate, and I will buy myself a ring and make up a marriage contract and spend some time like thinking about the marriage contract, and then like it's not going to be just some like, okay, I promised to myself, and I go about my life and I forget, you know, in the next morning that I promised something to myself because I'm sleepy and I want to stay asleep. You know, it's going to be different. It's going to be huge. I'm going to mark it as a huge event in my life. I mean, I'm not going to like invite anybody else besides, you know, I mean, huge. You know what I mean, guys. Meaningful. Different pile. That's gym clothes. So I think that will help a lot. I think that will be really cool. Maybe I'll get some flowers. Oh my god, so much fun. I'll show you guys the different, like I'll show you my ring. And I'll show you the different components, but I'm not, yeah, it's not something we're doing on camera on Facebook Live. I'm not going to walk in, like, I'm not going to proceed in either, guys. That's not going to be something that happens. I am probably going to get some candles, though. Ooh, oh my god. You know, I used to cast circles. Maybe, you know, I was never, like, in a part of a coven or anything, but not that that's a bad thing. I think covens are awesome. I just was never part of one. I just kind of did it on my own. I do like this shirt, but it makes me sweat. It's got Frida on it though, and I love Frida. Okay, this can go in this pile. And we've got the 100 Millionaire Summit. And when I just before I went nuts, when I snapped, you know, it's really funny. I actually snapped. People were like, "Oh, I snapped." Like, no, no, you didn't. You got mad. You didn't snap. But I don't know. That's judgment, right? And that's something I'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, I'm gonna. That's gonna be fun. Maybe next weekend. That'll be fun. I'm not gonna play that music. I'll find some music, but I'm not gonna play that music. Do I actually do vows in front of my housemate? I don't know. She'll think it's hilarious, so yeah, she'll go along with it. She'll be like, okay. But yeah, I could cast a circle. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that would probably be the best way to do it, right? Yeah, totally. This is pajamas. There we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and it marks it in the minds of everybody who attends, which was just me and my roommate. But because honestly, if I told anybody else that, anybody else in my life that, except for Robin, that I think that they would be a little like, maybe you should go to the hospital. So anyway, that's the marriage thing. The other thing that I thought was interesting was she was talking about confession as the fifth chakra, which is the throat chakra. And one of the things she was observing about that is it's about, it's about like recognizing sin, but but really it's about recognizing when you have what did she call it? What did she say? Something. What was it? I wrote it down. What is it? Power. I don't remember. Let's take a look. I'll bring this over here. Oh, another thing I wrote down in this, which I thought was interesting, going back to the marriage thing before we move on to the confession thing. She said that she believes that depression is the result of breaking your word to yourself too many times. And I think that's going to really help me, because I am not going to get depressed again. Not happening. So I need, like, in the moment, that's going to go in the vow. In the moment, I need to recognize, hey, if you break your word to yourself, you're going to get depressed. And I'm gonna. It really is. It's the carrot and the stick, guys. And it's the stick that gets the most reaction. Every time. Misinvest. I misinvest my power. So, she mentioned, like, sit down regularly and talk to God about it. Like, recognizing where you've misinvested your power and calling your power back, right? Which means, forgiveness. Yeah, pretty much forgiveness of yourself a lot of times. But if you don't like somebody and they just rub you the wrong way, and every time you see them a lot, like it bugs you, or whatever the feeling is you have for the person, any feeling, not any feeling, but like feelings that you don't want to invest your power in, it's a good way to deal with that, right? Because I don't like not liking people. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good. Like, I'd like to, I don't have to like everybody, but be neutral about people. That would be cool. And honestly, like, I already have I do kind of like everybody when I first, you have to, there has to be a reason for me not to like you. That's kind of the way I go about life. So I think I'm going to do that too. I'm going to start doing confession with God and talk about how I've misinvested my power in the past week or whatever it is. And, pray for it back, reclaim it. I'm not quite sure how to do that, but we'll see. And it would be really great if I could get like the crap out of, I'm think once I get some of the energy out of this chakra, out of this area, I think my voice will sound much better. We'll see. So we're working on that too. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Marriage, commitment to yourself, loving yourself, nurturing yourself, like commitment. I will be there for you every time you need me. I mean, that's not really, that's a little bit codependent if you say that to somebody else. But like, yeah, I'm there with you. Like whether or not I'm there, I just supporting, encouraging, loving, committed, faithful. Those are the things that I'm going to be focusing on as far as my marriage to myself. And then the confession thing. So I'm actually going back to the sacraments that I learned as a child. So let's see about that. We'll see. I know, I think it's going to be really cool. So that's about it. And I'm going to turn this off now. And I'm grateful for the fact that I have Carolyn Reese on my Audible account. And I'm grateful for these thoughts, talking to you guys and coming out with this idea of marrying, not just marrying myself, but like having a ceremony. That'll be fun. And confession, which is, this is what I've done. I know that this is what I've done, and I want to take my power back. So that's what I think I'm grateful for. And that means that I can remind you guys now, because I said what I'm grateful for, that you can always choose to have a grateful day.